Okay, you'll have to excuse my voice. I have a virus that has paralysed my vocal cords. So we're looking at the one of the gear assemblies inside the XS 1100 gearbox. This gear here is fifth gear, and this gear here is second gear. Now, second gear engages into fifth gear with these dogs, and the problem with the XSs is it's not a very good or positive assembly. So when the gear's engaged, which is now, there is some potential for it to jump back out, and that's what's been happening in this gearbox. So essentially I've got to pull all this apart and make some modifications to the drive dogs and where it engages to get a more positive interaction there. And the way you do that is like a dovetail. You actually undercut the drive dogs on the second gear. Alright, so let's pull it apart and get it on the bench, and we can see what we're working with. Okay, so I've got second and fifth gear out of the transmission. So essentially these drive dogs here engage in these slots, and as you can see by the shiny surface here, there's been a bit of slippage. It's not the best setup by Yamaha. It engages in there. So what we need to do is basically dovetail these pins and the corresponding slots so that when it engages second gear and it starts to load the gear up, it doesn't have a tendency to want to jump out of engagement under load, which is what has been happening and is an inherent issue with these XS 1100 gearboxes. So I'm going to set the Dremel up now, and we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I don't know whether or not you can see that, but there's a definite angle on there now. So what I tried to do was not go any further in than required. I tried to keep the top of the tooth the same diameter, the same size as it was from factory. And it feels better already, even without. Yeah. Okay, so now I'll attack second gear. See if I can't put a corresponding angle on that. Okay. It's a bit hard to see. bit hard to see, but I've now ground a corresponding dovetail into the second gear. I don't know whether it's radical enough. Feels pretty good, but whatever it is, it'll be an improvement. It's not too bad. I think it wouldn't be that hard to do on the bike. Pull the shaft out, so I'm going to risk it. So I'll get it all cleaned up now, back together. That's the second gear fix. I did decide to give it a little bit more. But you got to be careful, because typically gears like this are induction hardened, which means that they're hard on the surface. It doesn't penetrate very deep, and once you break through that hardness, they become quite soft, so you don't want to go too deep. That'd be my advice. But yep, so happy with that now. I'll go and clean it up and put it back together.